Hello, in this video I'm going to give a brief introduction to the male reproductive system. So we're going to start off by talking about the testes, which are the male gonads. Gonads are structures that produce gametes. Ovaries are the gonads in the female, they produce the egg, and testes are the gonads in the male, they produce sperm. So inside the testes, or testis for singular, inside the testes are tiny tubes that produce sperm, and these tubes are called the seminiferous tubules. So the seminiferous tubules have a layer of cells in their wall where spermatogenesis, or sperm production, begins. Right? The lumen of the seminiferous tubule is where we find the more mature sperm. The testes contain something called the blood-testis barrier, and this is basically a barrier between the normal blood circulation and the area in the testes where we're producing sperm. Now, sperm are unique cells that are different from the rest of the body cells, and they're unique because of the process of meiosis. Meiosis produces genetically distinct cells. And there's the potential for the immune system to recognize sperm as being foreign and then killing them. So we want to keep the immune system out of this area in the testes. So the blood-testis barrier prevents immune system cells from penetrating and destroying sperm. The tissue between the seminiferous tubules contains cells called interstitial cells, or Leydig cells. And these cells produce testosterone, which is the male hormone. Testosterone will be produced from the interstitial cells in response to other hormones coming from the pituitary gland. Now, the epididymis is a tube that receives sperm from the seminiferous tubules. Sperm are produced in the seminiferous tubules, but they finish their maturation in the epididymis. Basically, in the epididymis is where the sperm learn to swim. The scrotum is a sac of skin and muscle tissue that contains the testes. The testes need to hang outside of the male's body because they need a temperature slightly lower than body temperature for the process of spermatogenesis to occur. So the process of making sperm requires certain enzymes that are temperature sensitive. And if the temperature becomes too warm, the enzymes don't work properly and spermatogenesis is highly decreased. Now there's a series of tubes or ducts that carry sperm from the epididymis out of the body in the male, starting with the ductus deferens, also known as the vas deferens. So the vas deferens is the muscular tube that propels sperm from the epididymis to another duct called the ejaculatory duct. You maybe have heard of a vasectomy. A vasectomy is a form of male sterilization where the vas deferens is severed and either cauterized or tied off to prevent sperm from entering into this tube system. So essentially, men that have a vasectomy still produce semen, but it's without any sperm inside of it. The ejaculatory tube is a tube that is formed by the union of the duct of the seminal vesicle and the vas deferens. And then we have the urethra, which carries sperm from the prostate gland to outside the body. The urethra, of course, also carries urine from the urinary bladder to outside the body. So if we trace the pathway of sperm through the male duct system, we'd start at the testes first with the seminiferous tubules, where sperm are produced. Then the sperm are delivered to the epididymis, where they finish maturation. From there, the sperm are delivered to the ductus or vas deferens, then to the ejaculatory duct, then to the urethra, and then to the exterior of the body. Just to note, the ejaculatory duct is a tube that's found within the prostate gland. Let's take a closer look at the seminal vesicles and the prostate gland. So both of these are glands that are going to produce secretions that are going to be added to semen. So semen is just the collective term for sperm plus all of the fluids produced by the glands of the male reproductive tract. So the seminal vesicles create a secretion that has an alkaline nature to it. So it's got like a basic pH fluid to it. And this is important because it helps to neutralize the acidic pH of the urethra. So don't forget, urine travels through the urethra along with sperm. And urine tends to be slightly acidic. So this alkaline fluid neutralizes the acidic nature inside the urethra. Also, the inside of the vagina is acidic. and this alkaline fluid helps to combat the acidity in the vagina so that the sperm can survive through the vagina and make their way to the uterus. These seminal vesicles also produce fructose, which is an energy source for the traveling sperm. And the seminal vesicles produce prostaglandins. So prostaglandins are usually what we call a local hormone, but in this case they're anything but local. These hormones are actually thought to exert most of their effect inside the female reproductive tract. The prostaglandins are thought to cause contractions of the female reproductive tract, like the vagina and uterus, which help to propel the sperm towards the egg. Now, the ductus deferens, or vas deferens, unites with the duct of the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct inside the prostate gland. So all that's happening inside the prostate gland. The prostate gland also adds a secretion to semen, and it secretes mostly just an alkaline solution, which, like the alkaline solution of the seminal vesicle, helps to combat the acidity of the urethra and the vagina. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why don't the prostaglandins come from the prostate gland, since those words seem to go together? And indeed, when they first started studying semen, and they recognized the hormone in there, they thought it was coming from the prostate gland, and that's why they named the hormone prostaglandins. We now know the prostaglandins are not produced by the prostate gland, but from the seminal vesicles. However, the name has now stuck. Another important structure of the male reproductive system is the penis. The function of the penis is to deposit semen into the vagina. The penis has different parts to it. The root is the base of the penis, and then there's the shaft, and then there's the head or glands of the penis. Inside the penis, there are 3 columns of erectile tissue that contain numerous tiny little spaces that become engorged with blood during the process of erection. So there's one column of erectile tissue called the corpus spongiosum, and that surrounds the urethra, and it becomes enlarged at the distal portion, and that forms the glands of the penis. On the dorsal side of the penis, we have 2 columns of erectile tissue called the corpora cavernosa. This same erectile tissue is also found in the clitoris in the female. During the process of erection, blood vessels of the penis become leaky, and the blood leaks into the spaces of the erectile tissue, causing erection. As a clinical application, Viagra is a drug that actually prevents the backflow of the blood into the circulatory system. So what causes erection to end is that the blood vessels constrict, and then the blood leaves the erectile tissue, but Viagra prevents that process from happening. The glans or head of the penis is covered by a loose flap of skin called the prepuce or foreskin. During the process of circumcision, this is removed.